Hi, this is Bird from Bird's SVGs, and in this video I'll be showing you how I put the Celtic Heart lever card together from the Celtic Charm card collection. I'm going to start off with my base first, and it comes in two pieces. So the piece that's got the cutout heart shape on it, you'll fold that in half, and then this other piece gets folded along three lines. So you want to fold it like a W or like an M, and then you'll see when you put the two pieces together, the shape of the heart in one slides inside the hollow in the other, and you should end up with the shape that I showed you there. Okay, now to attach these two pieces together, you just need to add glue to the outside two panels. So you only add glue to half of the card. So I'm just starting with this back panel first. Sliding it in place, making sure that the edges line up. And then I'm just folding over that end panel, and I can add glue. And then when I'm going to glue this into place, because I've already folded along my score lines, that can cause the card to kind of shrink up a little bit. So what I'm going to try and do here is make an effort to stretch the card out as best as possible, to make it as flat as possible, to make sure that the all the edges line up. So once I'm happy that the glue's taken hold, now I'm going to just encourage the card to fold as it should and make sure it's all working properly. And I'll just put some pressure on it, make sure that it's lying flat. Okay, so now we can start working on adding the layers. Now you have two of these heart pieces, which are like the surround of the heart. You have one that goes on the front of the card, and the other one goes on the same end of the card, but on the inside. So not only are these decorative pieces, but they add a little bit of strength to the top and bottom of where the lever hinges, so it adds a little bit of strength there. Okay, so when you put this into place, you just want to make sure that you've got an even border around all the four edges, and then the central area will be in the right place, so you don't have to worry about that. Everything should work properly. I'm going to flip it over and do the same onto the front. So I'm just adding some glue all the way around this piece, and again I'll pop it into place, making sure that there's an even border around the edges, and I know that the heart pieces it won't obstruct that heart panel. Now you've got two inner heart pieces in your file. It is essential that one is added to the inside of the card, because the heart on the inside of the card becomes the heart on the outside of the card, if that makes sense. That's the way that the lever works. But you also have a piece here that I'm just adding to the card now that goes in place. But when the card is working and it's closed, you don't really see this panel, so this is just it's an optional step, but I think it finishes it off. So now I'll be putting the Celtic element together. It comes in two layers. There's a backing piece which I've cut from pattern paper, and then there's an overlay. And what I'm going to be doing here is the two outer lines that make up the heart here. I'm trying my best to add some glue to these. But as for the inner piece, I don't think you need to add glue to the whole area. Just a few dabs here and there should be sufficient. I think I got carried away and put glue everywhere, but these applicators do make it very easy for fine elements like this, but you don't have to cover the whole piece. Okay, I'm going to flip it over and just add some pressure to the back and make sure that it's all fully glued. Okay, I'm cutting down some 3D foam pads to fit behind the lines on my Celtic heart so it won't be seen. I tend to get a bit heavy-handed with my 3D foam pads, so you don't need to add as many as I do. So I'm just removing the backing layer. Then I almost stuck it to the front of my card, but then you must remember to add the decorative element to the panel inside the card, because then that becomes the outside of the card. Okay, I'm just adding my insert into my card. Now this is the panel where you'll write the message to your recipient. And then I've got an additional decorative layer here that goes onto the last panel on the inside of the card. So I've put some heart details here to reflect the decoration on the front of my card, and I've cut my little hearts out of the same pattern paper that I used in the background on my Celtic heart. So again, when you're popping these panels into place, just make sure that you've got the same size border all the way around the edges, and everything will line up perfectly. So I'm just popping some glue onto each of these hearts. And I'm not adding any dimension behind these hearts. I'm gluing them down flat because, you know, you want your card to fold down flat. They'll obstruct the folding of the card otherwise. Okay, so now I can pop my Celtic heart that I've already added my 3D foam pads to. I can pop that onto the panel here. I need to add my my pattern paper background first. So really this layer on the front of the card, it is an optional step, but the shape is there in your file, so you can choose to add that. Okay, so once that piece is now in place, I'm just testing my card, making sure everything's folding and working the way it should, giving it a little bit of encouragement with a bit of pressure. And there, it's folding just as a lever card should. Next we'll be moving on to the envelope. Now I've added a Celtic knotwork frame to the front of this envelope. So there should be enough room in the middle to add the name or the name and address of your recipient. If you're popping it in the post and you're worried that it may not travel well, I've added a folder of plain envelopes, so you'll see that within your download. So if you would like a plain envelope and you don't want a one with the cut out areas, that's there for you. Okay, so I've closed up my envelope, and then to add my liner, I'm just making sure that I've got an even border around the top flap of my liner. And then all you need to do is add some glue to the outside two edges here on your liner, and then flip it back up into place. And that's it, your liner's in place. You don't need to add any glue anywhere else, because as long as it's anchored at that top triangle, then that's all you need to do. So your card fits perfectly into your envelope, and it'd be perfect for Valentine's Day or an engagement or an anniversary, any love themed occasion.